Good afternoon and welcome to the Paper Call Coaching Call. On March 21st, 2013, my name is Chris Winters here, and we're going to have another good call here. I want to share a story with everybody. It's a true story a few years ago, and this is a story about stepping outside of your comfort zone on that. Right after I had joined Transformation.com and I had done well at it. I actually belonged to a men's group that was actually a part of a AA meeting, and it was a really special group. Everything that was shared stayed in there, and one of the exercises we were doing and talking about was our biggest fears. And we sat in a little circle. We'd talk about our biggest fears, and my biggest fear was public speaking. I mean, that just terrified me. The thought of having to go up and speak publicly in front of one person, let alone 100 people, was just, I mean, I would just not do it. Even the thought of it at the time sent chills down my spine. So the other men in the group that I was in, they said, well, you've got to confront this. We've all got to confront our biggest fears, so you've got to find a way, a challenge in order to do this. And I was just like, no way. I was seriously ready to leave the group. It was like, I'm not doing it. There's a lot of things I'm going to do in my life, but that's just not one thing that I'm going to step out and do that. Anyways, they encouraged me to do it and really pushed me towards it. And as I saw other people in the group really confronting their greatest fears, and I could see some of the benefit from it immediately in these people that we were, very close with and shared things that we didn't share with other people with. And it's all because they stepped outside of their comfort zone. And so that gave me the inspiration and the motivation, although I was still just distraught with fear. I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. I want to do this too. I want to find an opportunity to do public speaking and overcome these fears. And so I didn't know where to start. And they said, well, you just won the Bill Phillips contest, and you said you were going to be going to one of his events that was coming up. Why don't you ask Bill if you could speak at one of his events? I mean, it only seems natural, right? I thought, well, that makes sense. So I contacted Bill Phillips' assistant, and I asked her. I said, there's an event coming up here in 4 months, and I'll be attending anyways. I was wondering if I could share a little bit about my story on stage. And she said, that makes sense. So she got a hold of Bill. Bill said, sure, that sounds fine, but Bill wanted to see the presentation that I was going to do first. So I did. I worked really hard on it. And spent actually about a month on it, and then I sent it over to Bill, and he came back, and basically the assistant came back and said, look, there's so many things about this that he doesn't like that he doesn't even have time to tell you. Thanks for the opportunity, but no thanks. And I was crushed. I really felt defeated, not because I just slapped something together and I was like, oh, well, that's what I expect. I mean, I really put my best foot forward. And here was somebody who I admired and had really been, and still is, a changing point in my life, telling me there were so many things that were bad with it that he didn't even have time to list them all. I was crushed. So I went back to my support group, and I told them this, and they said, nope, you've got to get back on. You've got to get back on. You've got to redo it, find out what he didn't like, and redo it. And I did. And I basically got this similar response back. So I was like, I've given it my best 2 tries. I mean, I really have. And so the other people in the men's group that I was in agreed. And so the event was, we were now in the event, which is when it was in Colorado, and my wife and my 3 kids and myself were there, and the transformation community. And there was about 500 people in the audience. And Bill does nothing small. Everything he does is on a grand scale, and the whole thing's being filmed, and there's professional TV crew there and all kinds of stuff. And he's got professional speakers going on. So it was a 3-day event. And the first 2 days were speaking, and then on the third day was a marathon, and then everybody runs the marathon. So, one of the on the last night of it, or the end of the first night, which is a Friday night, Bill's assistant got a hold of me in the hotel and said, "Hey, Bill would actually like for you to speak tomorrow." And he would like you to use the presentation that you shared a while back ago, which was a few months ago. And I mean, you mean the one he didn't like? And she said, "Yeah, but you know how Bill is. Just he wants to know. We've got some time tomorrow, so he wants to know if you can do it." Well, I didn't bring it. I didn't prepare for it. I mean, I hadn't looked at it for at least a month. And so I said, "Let me get back to you." So I went down to the hotel, and I went into the internet office, and got into the business center and looked on Google Docs, because a lot of times I'll share stuff, I'll store stuff on Google Docs, and sure enough I had shared my PowerPoint presentation on Google Docs, because that's how I had shared it with Bill. So I had it there, and I just kind of went through it, and I was thinking, I'm not prepared, I haven't enough time to go over this. It could have been an easy way out. And then I kept thinking about what I was going to tell my support group when I got back home. And so I called her. It was about 11:30 in the evening, and I said, "I'll do it." And I said, under one condition. I said, tomorrow you've got Dick Hoyt speaking, and he's a keynote speaker for that day. And if any of you don't know who Dick Hoyt is, he's an amazing individual. He's participated in more triathletes than any person on earth, and what's unique about it is that he takes his son with him, who is a quadriplegic. And not only does he ride him like this on the bike for hundreds of miles, this is how he swims with him, and this is how they run the race. And he's famous around the world. And I said, I'll do it. I'll speak tomorrow, but I don't want to go after Dick Hoyt. I said, no matter what, I don't want to follow him. So she said, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll get you set up, first time in the morning before lunch." And so around, right before lunch, I said, "Okay, am I going to go up? Am I going to get mic'd up?" And she says, "Well, we're having a little scheduled difficulties here." And Dick Hoyt would actually, he needs to catch an earlier flight out, so we're going to have him speak next, and you'll speak right after him. And he brought the house down. I mean, his story is amazing. I mean, he brought people to tears. So anyways, I ended up speaking after that, and did a great job. I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of unsolicited emails of people contacting me and saying how much they enjoyed the presentation. So my message to you and everyone else on the phone call is, any opportunity that you have, seek them out. Don't wait for them to come to you. Seek it out, because all the magic and all the growth in your life, in your business, your personal life, and everything will only take place outside of your comfort zone. So take those challenges, your fears, whatever it feels uncomfortable. A lot of times, if it's something that you feel like you don't want to do, that's exactly the thing you should be doing. For example, if you feel like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today and work out, I don't want to go to the gym today, it's too tired. A lot of times that's exactly what you need to be doing on that end of it. So let's go ahead and get started here. Step out of your comfort zone no matter what. Every day find an opportunity to do it. You'll grow, and life will be much more fulfilling. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll get started with the questions here. Before we get started with the questions, I want to interject and go over just one other quick thing here. I'm going to later on this evening, I'm going to be putting in a I think I can fit into one page, but probably a two-page step-by-step process of exactly what you should be doing in this business. Step one, I just want to lay it out. It's like a cheat sheet. All the stuff is in the members area, but the members area has grown so much in the past 3 to 4 months. We've gone from 4 modules to 17, and it's just going to keep growing like that. So I understand it can be confusing to others that are just coming in. So what I want to take a little break here right now and just dive in and just kind of go over into detail. And if you've already done this, I promise you'll get value out of this as well, because it's always worth reiterating and looking at new and different ways to get your business started or start another chapter in it. So the first thing you should be doing, no matter what, whether you've been in the course for a while and you haven't taken action or you're just getting started in it, the first thing you want to do is you want to find a niche. And I recommend that you narrow it down and you maybe find the top 2 or 3 niches that you think you want to get into and you want to start. And I'm going to go through the process right now of how I would find a niche and kind of the steps that I would go through to determine whether it would be something that I would want to actually go forward with. And okay, cool. So let's go ahead and let me open up a window here. Hopefully, I think I got this stuff open. Yep. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can come out and kind of attack this, but one thing I would think a guiding point on here is think of it as that the riches are in the niches, because they really are. If you're going after all of the other regular things that people are going after out there, normal offliners, there's just too much competition, and it doesn't need to be that way, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of other niches when you really break it down and you start to do it. So here's just a couple things I was just thinking literally 2 minutes before the phone call started, and I don't know if there's going to be anything in it, but I just wanted to kind of take some examples here. So some people think, oh, okay, I want to go after dentists. Okay, it is a lucrative niche. They get called up all the time, and it's hard to rank for. But if you were to take that and kind of break it down into and get more nichey with it, what would something like that look like? And one of the keys to getting to the speed of marketplace quickly is having an exact match domain. And it's not a strategy that you have to do, but if you're first starting out, I highly, highly recommend it. A, because there's so many of them out there, and B, you'll find yourself on page 1 so much faster, sometimes without any backlinks whatsoever. And it's just about speed to marketplace. And then, once you've got this tested out in 1, 2, maybe 3 markets, and you've got it all tweaked out, you've talked with clients, you've got the price per call figured out, the price per opt-in worked out. Now you just go in, and as it's described in the course, you just literally duplicate the sites out, changing out just the geo-targeting area. So it's not like you got to do a whole ton of work. So you could literally, if you sat down, and once you've got your first couple of sites down, and then you say, okay, this is working, I've got clients in it, I understand this niche. Now you go out and you could literally build 50 sites through there's a free tool, and we show you how to use that inside the membership area in order to duplicate the sites. And there's also paid ones out there like